Hello, this is Papa Ray Hines. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. This is going to be a short session on learning a little bit about customer lifetime value, or LTV. What it is and how to use it. It's a great metric. Customer lifetime value. Customer lifetime value, or LTV, is really an estimate of average revenue that a customer will generate for you throughout its lifespan. And as long as he's a customer, he'll be generating income for you. In other words, LTV is the worth of a customer over time. LTV is such a valuable and necessary metric to the success of your business if you'd like to use it. Customer lifetime value, or LTV, is calculated in many different ways. Different industries calculate it differently based on collection methods and various other factors. And so, depending on your industry, you might have subscription services or software, digital media, education, consumer goods and retail, business and professional, travel and hospitality, manufacturing, construction, the list goes on. All have differing needs in their forecasting models and the way they expect to be paid. There are several different formulas based on the ability to forecast retention as well. Which brings up churn. Churn, you've heard a lot about. What is it? Well, we have a positive metric called retention rate and how well you retain your customers. Churn, or attrition rate, is exactly the opposite. It's a negative term and it's the inverse. So if you have over a period of time 100% of your customers, 8% of them drop out over time, then your attrition rate, or churn, is 8%. And that's an awful high one. Sometimes they're in the double digits, but not always. Every business needs to know its customer attrition rate, or churn, and how to calculate the effect churn has on your profitability. Simply put, it's how quickly you expect to lose customers. That's a bad feeling, isn't it? How quickly you expect to lose customers in your industry over a certain period of time. LTV, customer lifetime value. Let's take a look at it here. It's usually the average sales for a certain period, maybe annual. Now divided by the attrition rate. So that's an inverse. And so an inverse of retention rate, LTV, would be a good thing the higher it is. Let's take a look at an example. Say I've averaged $297 a month for a subscription coming into my company for the last 12 months. My churn is 7.9%. And my annual, because of the nature of the business, and my annual LTV is $3,759.49. That's how much I expect annually from this $297 a month. Another example, especially, would be a subscription has $97 average monthly sales for a certain period of time, divided by, and it's in a different cohort, and it's divided by a different churn rate. We expect someone paying that much to only have about 93.9% retention and 6.1% attrition. So that would equal, if that was $97 a month only and no other frills or other things, it would give me the ability to kind of forecast $1,590.16 per year. So that's the customer LTV per year. Lifetime value, but it's always got to be given on a certain time frame. So let's take a look at the actual spreadsheet that generated this information for us. I have it embedded into my PowerPoint. It's quite a lengthy spreadsheet, and that's mainly the reason I'm here, to demonstrate the power of Excel and how it can summarize. But I have 10 customers that worked with me last year in 2023. And you can see each one of these customers, I've got all their information, their name, their contact, and some of the information based on their company. We'll take a look at the first one up here. This one is divided. I have also 3 cohorts. I beg your pardon, 4 cohorts. And that means they're divided based on their churn rate, or expected churn rate, based on the type of business that they are and the amount of money they're spending. This bicycle company was with me even back in 22, but in 23, I see that there were 12 payments per month, one per month, for $97. Their average then is $97. Their total is $1164. The 2023 average monthly sales is one of the inputs to my master spreadsheet, my calculations that will be going on. However, this whole line can be extracted and used. I don't need a pivot table on this one because all I need is the information on one of these totals for each customer. And so let's take a look. $97 per month, but the monthly or the expected churn rate or attrition rate is 6.1. Now you can invert that and say it's 93.9 or almost 94% people retain. I retain as a continuing business into the next year. So I need to emphasize that LTV, or customer lifetime value, is set up so that it is over a period of time. This is annually, and I've decided to do it annually. Other businesses can do it differently because the payment schedule. What if you pay annually, or what if you pay every 6 months or every 3 months, quarterly? The calculation would be somewhat different. However, what we're looking for is annual customer lifetime value. And so you can see I've got others here, and they're still in this second customer still in cohort 1, but they started in March and didn't have a whole year, so their average monthly sales was lower, and consequently their customer lifetime value, their expected value per year over time, unless things change of course, is $1,300. And you can see each one of these has a different one. There are customers that I have in cohort 2, which means maybe they're spending more money, they're more invested in the business, and they're more likely to stay with the business. Sometimes though their attrition rate is different. And so it's very important to make sure that these empirically figured values that are supplied are used rather than just the same churn rate for every time in every situation. Many other companies, as I've suggested, use varying calculations for churn rate. This one here is a higher paying and churn rate is higher, but it doesn't have to be a one-to-one correlation. But cohort number 3, the average of this customer was $497, and so my expected value is higher. Annual expected value, or annual lifetime value over a period of 20 years or 10 years or whatever, is $3,000 per year, $3,700 per year. So how do I get this information into another chart? You can see that even this value and all the other values are calculated values based on this information, but I don't need those 12 months. I just need the total. And so I'm going to shift over now to the second spreadsheet, which is a little bit more condensed. And you can see it's the same information exactly, but there is no information in these cells because they get their information from the previous sheet. This sheet down here, 2023 sales for 12 months, is a different spreadsheet than the sheet that I have here. But this one reaches over into that sheet and goes to H15, and H15 is where the bicycle company has all of its information, the total, the average monthly sales, the churn rate, and the customer lifetime value per year. So you see, with my 10 clients listed, I have an expected value per year of almost $30,000. And that's basically the whole calculation. I wanted to show you a little bit about Excel, however. As I said, this one does not appear by someone typing in 4814. It appears by the calculations that are done in the master spreadsheet and then pulled over into the summary spreadsheet, LTV summary. And so that's basically the whole thing. As you calculate lifetime value or customer lifetime value, understand that it is a rate, and it's the expected rate over time of your retention and how much you're going to make. So every customer is different, and even in different categories. There's a category 4, 3, 2, 1, we call them cohorts, and they have differing percentage of retention, otherwise known as attrition rate or the churn rate. So this is out of 100, so 92% in cohort 4 are expected to retain over a year, or remain as my customer over a period of 1 year. And this is a per year deal. And if you expand it out, you could expect maybe over 5 years or whatever it might be. I will say there's a danger in extrapolating many, many years, but each year is divided this way. And it's up to you to decide and use this as a metric to find out how well each of your customers is doing for you and how much income you can expect. Switching back to the presentation, you can see this is where I went out to get my data, and it's neat that you can embed into PowerPoint and other applications a complete spreadsheet. But I'm switching back to that now so we can move on. And we see the short bibliography I've listed here for you. You could go to any of these and many others out on the net and see what I've been saying. And this is a very complex calculation because LTV means different things to different people over different periods of time. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope to see you later. Please come to my YouTube channel @Ray Hines.